was pastor of a church in southern Indiana, just a few miles south of here. Sitting in my office, it's early one morning, no one else was in the church, and I had a gun in my lap. And I was crying out to God, asking Him, give me one good reason why I shouldn't pull this trigger. The pain was just too severe. It was emotional pain, spiritual pain, physical pain. I've come to learn that that's what depression is. But for some reason I didn't. I realized it was God's urging. He reminded me of all the people that would impact, not just my family, but all the people I'd ministered to over the years. And so I didn't that time. But it wasn't the last time I ever thought about it. That continued until I finally got some help. I'd come home from the military pretty messed up. I'd learned to use alcohol as a coping mechanism to deal with the fear and the loneliness and the anger. And when I got home, the things that caused that fear and loneliness and anger were no longer there. But I had learned to use alcohol and then drugs as a coping mechanism to deal with anything negative going on in my life. And the sad part is I didn't get my help from the church. I had to reach out outside the church. Because at that time, maybe it was just me, but I felt like nobody saw mental health issues as anything you couldn't deal with spiritually. Just pray this prayer, read these scriptures, attend that conference, go through inner healing, go through cleansing ministries. And I did all that. Even trained where I could be the one doing that ministry. But it didn't help. Some friends of mine, military friends, veteran friends, threatened to duct tape me and take me to the VA if I didn't go myself. And we were in Phoenix at the time. We were traveling as U.S. missionaries, as chaplains to bikers. And I had an appointment at the VA, and a young intake nurse, as a part of the questionnaire, the question she asks on intake, she asked, have you ever thought about hurting yourself? And I said, yes. And she said, how long ago? And I can remember looking at my watch, because at that point it was pretty much a daily thing. Here I was, an ordained Assemblies of God pastor, U.S. missionary, chaplain, and I'm contemplating suicide. Well, the VA got me some help, started seeing a therapist, started me on medication, started being a part of groups there at the VA, and it helped. And then I found out groups help. Groups here at the church help. Celebrate Recovery helps. And I think what those groups do is they give you a place where no one is going to correct you or tell you that's not godly or recommend a fix, because there's things in life that aren't a quick fix. Salvation is instantaneous. And when I got clean and sober, that was practically an instantaneous thing. But the Bible talks about working out our salvation. And I think some of these things take a lifetime to work out. I'm still on medication. Don't see a therapist as often as I once did, but I still do. But I tell the folks in Celebrate Recovery, I'm there as much for me as them, because you can sit down with a group of people who have had similar experiences in life and just be real. Take off the mask. Nobody's going to criticize. Nobody's going to try and fix you. Just share what's on your mind, and somebody will say, thanks for sharing. And just getting that off your chest, just speaking those things out loud so your ears are hearing them as well as your mind receiving what you just said. There's a healing process there. And I no longer see that as an anti-faith thing. You know, I'm alive today because of Jesus Christ. I'm clean, sober, my marriage restored because of Jesus Christ. But if I had a heart attack, people around me would pray, and they'd call an ambulance. And I'd go to the hospital, and maybe have heart surgery. But if my brain's not working right, which is just one more organ in the body, for some reason kind of seen as an unspiritual thing to go seek out a psychiatrist or psychologist or, heaven forbid, be on medication for mental health. But I think God's given us those things too. There was a time when we probably thought going to the doctor for physical things was a lack of faith, and we've worked through that. I think the physical, the mental, the spiritual can all work together. So I just encourage any of you, who yourself or you have a loved one who's experiencing mental health issues, don't be afraid of seeing a mental health professional. Don't be afraid of taking medication. But I'm not talking about addictive stuff. Most mental health medication isn't addictive at all. Let God lead you. Use the resources He's provided for us, and be a part of a group and be healthy.